Welcome to Genomics. The finance minister just confirmed earlier this month that the government is thinking about amalgamating banks to create more big world-class banks that India needs for growth. The announcement led investors in small banks like Bank of Maharashtra and IOB to worry if their bank will be merged into a larger bank which grows more slowly. It led bankers, on the other hand, to worry about the problems of cultural and technology integration and employee morale. To understand how best the consolidation may be done and what are the costs and benefits, I have with me four veteran elite bankers. SS Mundra, former Deputy Governor of the Reserve Bank and former Chairman and Managing Director of BOB. Dinesh Khara, former Chairman, State Bank of India. Padmaja Chunduru, former Managing Director of Indian Bank. And Sunil Mehta, former MD of PNB. Mrs. Chunduru and Mehta both piloted a merger in their time as MD. So, gentlemen and Mrs. Chunduru, welcome to the show. Mr. Mundra, let me start with you. A slightly hatke question for our stock market audience. You know, in the previous round, when Dana merged into BOB, etc., the weaker bank merged into the large bank. So there wasn't much shareholder, disgruntlement. But now the small bank, like say for instance, Bank of Maharashtra, they've grown some 200% in the last 5 years. So there is a bit of a worry that we may be merged into a slightly slowly growing bank. How do you think this will be a factor at all when the government arranges amalgamation?
Okay. Thanks, Latha, for opening salvo. The one point is the banks which you are talking about, government continue to be the majority shareholder.
Yes.
And I think the shareholder value would be equally weighing on the mind of the largest shareholders as well. I really don't think that shareholders would be really unduly worried about it. There may be some short-term concerns because, it's a mixed bag. While, growth in terms of percentage may look like, I'm growing at 20%, other is growing at 12%. But then I think the informed investors also understand that you are growing on a large base rather than a small base. You are also getting the benefit of size, of scale, technology and all that. So that's a mixed bag. But having said that, I would just confine myself to a little bit of opening comments so that I don't occupy too much of time. See, let us be say realistic about it. Previous round of merger, 1920, we can say in some way it had been a success. There were short-term pains in the beginning, but in long-term, profit and efficiency gain has been achieved. So that is visible in the share performance and everything. But as you rightly mentioned in your opening comments, technology, other things, integration is fine. But as far as I understand and I hear from my friends, the cultural integration continue to remain a key challenge. And if that is the case, the point is whether you are surviving reasonably well or you have been put in a position to exploit your potential to the full extent. I think second is still something where a lot of questions are there. And also the fact that the market capitalization of 5 top private banks today is still higher than all the public sector banks put together. Yeah. So I think it raises a lot of questions. I'm sure in coming round we will be discussing that.
Yes.
I'll just stop at this point of time.
Yes, that is a very important policy question which I will raise a little later in the show. First, what do you think, Mr. Khara, will be the mechanics of the merger? Immediately the shareholders think that, will Bank of, those 5 amalgamated banks, Central, UCO, BOM and IOB, will they be merged into Bank of India and create one big pool? Or do you think, the finance minister did not say about the unmerged banks. She only said India needs large banks for growth and the amalgamation will also have a growth angle. Do you think merging the already merged banks, Union and BOB, will also be something? Because that will create a 25-30 trillion deposit base.
Well, Latha, when it comes to, if you look at the way the banking system is stacked up currently, SBI balance sheet would be about 800 billion plus, and the others are quite small. So I think if at all the scale is intended to be achieved the way it is there with the global banks, the biggest one would be from China, about 7 trillion US dollar equivalent. And then the next would be maybe JP Morgan would be about 4 trillion plus. So I think if at all we have to scale up to those levels, maybe I think merging the bigger may not really be of much value. But I would like to subscribe to the view that if at all merger has to happen, merger should actually lead to strengthening of the growth levers in the banks.
Okay.
So which actually means that unless and until there is a synergy which will flow, post-merger, it may not really yield the desired results. The intention should be that if at all merger has to happen, then the subsequent growth should be significantly higher. That is what it should be. And for that, there's a need for the stronger muscles, and those stronger muscles will essentially come from the skill, the technology, and also the ability to take the risk. And of course, consolidation of the capital, because capital being the one scarce commodity, unless and until it is put to good use, which actually means that the higher capital adequacy ratio is also not a welcome situation.
I agree.
So I think optimally, if at all, we can have a situation where the banks which have got a higher capital, they can be merged with the one which are having lower capital base, and also they can offer synergies in the in the sense that their ability to underwrite better risk will also emerge. So I think that should be the focus.
No, I think both you and Mr. Mundra are pointing to the same thing. Let's think growth and profitability and not let that be the guiding star. Very quickly, Mr. Khara, do you think State Bank will be left untouched? Because that's under a different act. And the PSU banks are under the Nationalization of Takeover of Banking Companies Act. So do you think in this round or in any round, even in the previous, only the State Bank babies were merged into SBI. You think the others will not, you won't have a Bank of India or a BOM getting into State Bank. You think so?
No, I think we have, in the last round of merger, we actually even merged the Bharatiya Mahila Bank, which was part of the State Bank group. So I think that is not a challenge. That can perhaps be looked into. There are ways. And we have already done it also. So I think that's not a challenge. But as I mentioned, that if at all, unless and until we address the core fundamental, what are we going to gain out of merger? And is it really, I mean, what will be the contours of the merger? Are they really addressing the basic issue? That is something which I would like to really
Okay. So concentrate on financials, concentrate on the operational gains, is what both of you are saying. Mr. Mehta, what's your sense? Since you have gone through this, Oriental Bank of Commerce was one of the banks that was merged into PNB in your time. Do you think merger should be geographical? That is, people of the same geography merge so that common branches are closed. There is genuine, savings. Or should it be the other way around, that, you merge into a region where PNB is not, well spread, say with a southern bank? Should it be geographical or should it be cultural? If two northern banks merge, then culture is more easy to handle. How should the government think?
So, Latha, in my opinion, consolidation is just not a arithmetic sum up of the balance sheet. What the finance minister has signaled and is that basically they are creating a financial architecture which can support the country's aspiration of 5 trillion economy and becoming a developed economy by 47. And to that direction, I think the supporting banking system will be necessary to fund that. And I totally subscribe to what Kharaji said and all that. In fact, there is a need to create a large size banks which can support that type of country's ambition. And for that matter, I think a lot of consideration, like what you say, whether the technology or the geography, in my opinion, there are strategic business advantages every bank has. Somewhere they have a niche segment, somewhere they have a different segment. So it has to be strategically thought of.
Okay.
What are the value the merger will bring to the table,
Okay.
and those and there because last time it was basically on the technology because
Yeah.
that gives a convenience of integration.
Okay.
But I think now we have crossed that stage, and we can look to the other levers that can facilitate the value creation in terms of capital size, profitability, and the efficiency indicator.
Yeah. I take your point that every bank will come with some kind of a strategic advantage. And the fact that size, I mean, today I think it's only State Bank which can finance a 15,000 crore project or something. The other banks will not go beyond 8,000 crore. So the size will have its own advantage. Mrs. Chandru, actually similar question like I asked Mr. Mehta, but more a human angle. You had to take Indian Bank, which is largely a south-based bank, had to handhold or take in Allahabad Bank, which is more a eastern northern bank. Are cultural integrations very difficult, so much so that they may actually impact profitability?
Latha, I think, we learned a lot from that merger. Yes, in the beginning when it was announced, there was a kind of a apprehension that, the cultures don't fit in. IT does to some extent, so that was sort of managed. But culture was a big challenge. I think it depends on the way you take it up, the narrative that you give from the beginning. Where whichever two banks merge, I'm sure there would be a culture challenge.
Yes.
But yes, more so in this case. When you position it as a merger of equals, there is no victor or vanquished here. It's all the same owner. We are all working with the government mandate. I think that message again and again, communication plays a big role.
Okay.
Also, fairness and transparency in handling the people.
Okay.
I think people make or mar an organization. Whichever merger, whichever consolidation, unless we take care of people, it's not going to succeed. I think in Indian Bank, we could focus on the right areas, and then it's where it is today. I think it's doing very well. Yeah.
No, take your point. But, I want to just start the other big conversation that Mr. Mundra began and then go to my first break. Mr. Mundra, you said the fact of the matter is that the market cap of the first 5 public sector banks is not equal to the private sector banks. Now, a private sector bank like RBL managed a huge foreign bank welcoming into it very well. So, they got that much of capital, 26,000 crores of capital. Do you think we have to recast the Bank Nationalization Act altogether? There have been advice from the past. Dr. Y.V. Reddy did that. PJ Nayak has recommended in various ways that first let us do away with that act, bring all the banks under Companies Act. Then there will be 51% independent members. The board becomes independent. In a matter of years, it takes time for the board to be independent. Let the board decide what is the profitable one to merge into. Do you think that is the way to go?
That is a larger question, Latha, and I think we have debated several times
On this.
But as you know, there is a business angle to it, there is a political angle to it. But I partially agree with you because I think that will be a right way of starting it. And even if you are going up to 49, you are not changing the structure of basic control, which can always remain. But I think FM, while talking about the merger, has given certain subtle hint about it. So I think it is also occupying the mind space of the government and all those who matter. And probably some work would happen into there. Because, see, to my mind, scale is not the only thing. Scale, for the size of scale, doesn't really achieve anything. See, in running a bank, there are other issues like how you create a meaningful network of partnership, how smart is your technology, how much is good is your customer connect, how you are innovating. I think those are the things which become very important, which brings the profitability and which ultimately leads to the market capitalization.
Yeah.
So how you design the merger, how you phase it, and important point is when you create behemoth like this, your regulation should also be at the same time need to be really plugged up to meet with the challenge. Otherwise, there could be risk.
Okay.
Actually, Latha, there are 2 larger questions. Maybe I think
after the break, sir,
we can discuss that. But let me put those questions. What do we want to achieve by this merger? right? And what are the risks involved? I
Yes.
think it will be worth debating on those 2 points.
We will, sir. We'll do that exactly after the break and also ask, there's a bigger challenge emerging for the entire banking space, private sector included, that a company like Grow has a bigger market capitalization than most of the banks. Technology is tearing and taking away the customers of banks. So those questions after the break. For Bazaar viewers, you will get to see the whole show after market hours.